Trader Joe's is recalling two kinds of almond cookies. The company says the cookies may contain rocks. Trader Joe's says customers should throw the cookies away or return them to the store.
You probably swung by Trader Joe's last week, grabbed some cookie butter, organic vodka sauce, and felt a little healthier just for being there. But that's strange. Only 9% of their produce is organic, and many of their so-called health foods are loaded with sugar and sodium. And it gets worse. So, let's talk about it. Here's all you should know before stepping into Trader Joe's again. Last month, I picked up a jar of olive tapenade from Trader Joe's because, Trader Joe's, so obviously it had to be made with premium olives, kissed by Mediterranean sun, right? Wrong. I flipped the jar around, and the first oil listed wasn't olive. It was canola. Canola. Same deal with their canned stuffed grape leaves. Zero olive oil. Just a splash of soybean and a whisper of disappointment. It's like biting into what you thought was a freshly baked sourdough, only to realize it's Wonder Bread wearing a rustic apron. At first I tried to justify it. Well, it's affordable. Maybe canola is the new olive. But eventually, I had to face the cold truth. If I actually cared about real food, food with ingredients that make sense, Trader Joe's wasn't cutting it. It's not just about taste. It's about how disconnected we've become from knowing what good food should be. This is a larger American problem. Places like this don't just reflect the problem. They package it, label it with a fun font, and sell it for $3.49. On a regular day, you walk into Trader Joe's and immediately feel like you've made a responsible decision. The hand-drawn signs, the cheerful employees in Hawaiian shirts, the soft indie soundtrack. It's less like a grocery run and more like a lifestyle upgrade. And by the time you leave, you're convinced you've shopped smart. That's the trap. Trader Joe's isn't just selling groceries. They've mastered the art of virtue signaling, and they're doing it in a way that's almost impossible for Americans to ignore. It's Whole Foods for people who hate pretentiousness, and a junk food aisle disguised in brown craft paper and minimalist fonts. But peel back the wholesome packaging, and what you find isn't so wholesome after all. We are talking of a snack aisle that could knock a dietitian into early retirement. Even TJ's employees, who brag about wines that have not been processed with any animal products, would tell you to stay off the snack aisle. Take their organic granola bars, individually wrapped promises of clean energy and natural goodness. But one bar can contain 20 grams of sugar. That's 5 teaspoons, more than a glazed Krispy Kreme donut. But you don't blink, because it says organic on the front and hemp seeds on the back. It's basically dessert masquerading as nutrition. Or look at the kale chips, a health food darling. Trader Joe's Zesty Nacho Kale Chips pack, 470 milligrams of sodium in one bag. For context, Lay's classic potato chips only have 170 milligrams per serving. That's nearly triple the sodium in a serving of Lay's classic chips. You could eat actual nachos and still walk away with less salt poisoning. The health food isn't healthier. They're junk food in disguise. And the cauliflower gnocchi, let's not even pretend. Touted as a low-carb miracle, has a shocking amount of starch by weight. More than half the ingredients are cassava flour and potato starch, not cauliflower. That's like selling watered-down Coke as hydration. You could eat regular gnocchi and just be honest with yourself. It's like selling a diet soda and skipping the part where it's mostly syrup. Here's the brilliance. You buy cookie butter here instead of Oreos at a gas station, and somehow it feels virtuous. Same sugar, same calories, just a different story on the label. And the worst part? It works. According to the Center for Science in the Public Interest, Health Halo, terms like organic and natural, lead consumers to underestimate calories, fat, and sugar content by up to 40%. Trader Joe's knows this. They count on it. So, when you unwrap that healthy peanut butter chocolate bar and tell yourself it's a smarter choice, it's not. It's just better dressed. A buddy of mine worked at Trader Joe's for 5 years, so he's basically seen it all. Behind the scenes, front of store, cookie butter madness and all. He told me once that a Filipino family came in and bought an entire pallet of cookie butter. Not a few jars. A pallet. He said they actually had to make a new store policy because of it. Yeah, it's that addictive. And also, let's be real, not exactly a health food. And he also said, if you're looking for sugar-free options, you're out of luck. There's some stevia powder and sugar-free chocolate that still has sugar alcohols in it, but not much else. And if you're a parent looking for baby food, forget it. Closest thing is those applesauce crushers. Still, he swears by the frozen meals. Says they're some of the best in terms of both taste and health. Same with the salads and ready-made meals. Trader Joe's nails it there. Oh, and the cheese section? Apparently, if a cheese exists, they probably sell it. It's not perfect, but when TJ's get something right, they really get it right. Now, let's discuss something about TJ that most people don't know. Very often, Trader Joe's feels like that quirky best friend who goes to farmers markets, listens to vinyl, and probably makes their own kombucha. The Hawaiian shirts, the handwritten signs, the employee named Trevor recommending chimichurri like it's a love language. It all screams authentic. But here's the plot twist. Trader Joe's is less homemade charm and more corporate wizardry. Behind those mason jar labels and artisan vibes is a multi-billion-dollar operation built on illusion. Specifically, the illusion that someone named Joe is back there personally roasting your almonds in small batches. Spoiler, Joe doesn't exist. See, Trader Joe's doesn't make most of its own products. Like, at all. They're masters of what's called private labeling, which is a fancy way of saying, let's slap our logo on someone else's food and pretend we made it. They hit up national food expos, taste test goodies from established brands. Then they are like, hey, mind making this exact thing for us with our branding? And it works. Maybe a little too well. According to reporting from outlets like Eater, Tasting Table, and SF Gate, many Trader Joe's staples might not be as exclusive as they seem. Those beloved TJ pita chips, often made by the same people behind Stacy's, the Frito-Lay kind. Their pretzels are courtesy of Snyder's-Lance, one of the biggest pretzel empires in America. That peanut butter you swear tastes better than others? It once came from the same place that supplies Costco and Whole Foods. And JoJo's, the store's cult classic cookie, has drawn comparisons to Newman O's, though recent reformulations suggest that connection may no longer hold. In other words, you're not shopping in a neighborhood store. You're in a very well-camouflaged Costco in skinny jeans. Trader Joe's doesn't deny this, because legally, they don't have to disclose the original manufacturer. The company's official response has always been vague. We don't discuss our suppliers because we value the relationships and confidentiality. Translation? They don't want you knowing your favorite Trader Joe's salsa comes from the same factory that stocks gas station shelves. The reason is simple: perception. A $3.29 Trader Joe's marinara feels more premium when you think it's small batch. But when you find out it's rebranded, Rao's knockoff made in a giant processing facility, the illusion starts to fall apart. Private labeling isn't a crime, but it's a clever disguise, one that lets Trader Joe's charge artisanal prices for factory food. So next time you marvel at the variety, the quality, the charm, remember, the label might be Trader Joe's, but the product? That's just the costume. And if you've ever fallen in love with the whole Trader Joe's aura, then there's something else you need to know. TJ isn't the devil, but it has some real secrets. And it's time to talk about them. First, you must realize that behind that wholesome vibe is a recall list that reads like a horror anthology. Over the past few years, Trader Joe's has quietly pulled dozens of products because they were seasoned not with sea salt, but with metal fragments, plastic bits, glass shards, salmonella, and good old listeria. And no, that's not an exaggeration. In 2023 alone, they had over a dozen recalls, many issued after the products had already been on shelves for days. One of the greatest hits? Their almond windmill and dark chocolate chunk cookies, recalled for containing rocks. Yes, rocks, like the kind you find in your driveway. One bite, and dessert becomes a dental emergency. And we're just getting started. That same month, their broccoli cheddar soup had to be pulled for, you guessed it, insects. Before that, fully cooked falafel recalled for stones. According to FDA and USDA data, Trader Joe's consistently ranks high for recall frequency compared to its size. But here's the part that's borderline diabolical. If you don't already follow recall news like it's a hobby, you'd probably never know. Because TJ's uses their own custom SKUs instead of normal barcodes, so when something gets recalled, there's no digital alert, no automatic notification, and definitely no, "Hey, maybe don't eat that" text. If you bought it with cash, forget it. They have no clue who you are. Bought glass cookies last week? Good luck out there. According to a former employee, they were told not to make a big deal about recalls. Just quietly post a sign. Ideally, where no one looks, especially if it's a top seller, because nothing ruins cookie sales like a public rock warning. And let's not forget, Trader Joe's doesn't manufacture most of their own food. So, when something goes wrong, you have zero clue if your peanut butter is from the salmonella-riddled Sunland Inc., or if your hummus comes from the same listeria-having supplier as Sabra. It's like playing Russian roulette with your shopping cart. Look, Trader Joe's doesn't make bad food, but the warm, fuzzy illusion that natural means harmless, that's the real danger. Because when your cookies contain rocks and your soup comes with bugs, maybe it's time to stop trusting a smile and a Hawaiian shirt over actual transparency. Now, here's something you'll be glad you found out. Trader Joe's doesn't run flashy ads. No Super Bowl commercials, no giant billboard. But step into one on a weekend, and it's shoulder to shoulder with people hoarding frozen dumplings like the apocalypse is coming. Why? Because they don't need to sell you on the store. They've figured out how to make the store sell you. That's because the whole experience is engineered down to the last wood-paneled inch. A former regional manager once put it bluntly, "Every Trader Joe's is designed to feel like your neighborhood general store. But behind that charm is data. What most people don't realize is that Trader Joe's is one of the most psychologically optimized shopping environments in the country. Let's start with the visuals. The colors, warm reds, golden yellows, rustic wood tones, aren't random. According to research from the Pantone Color Institute, warm hues make a space feel cozy and welcoming, and they subtly encourage spending. While other stores go bright, sterile, and corporate, Trader Joe's makes you feel like you're shopping in a vintage cabin, one where everything happens to be edible. Then there's the soundtrack. What you hear are hand-picked tracks from the 1960s, 1970s, and early 1980s, songs that tap into nostalgia. A UCLA consumer behavior specialist once noted that nostalgic music can increase dwell time by up to 40%. So you linger, and the longer you stay, the more you buy. But the real psychological masterstroke is scarcity. Trader Joe's rotates its products like a roulette wheel. That amazing seasonal pasta sauce? Here today, gone next week. The brand doesn't just tolerate disappointment, they build it into the model. Because when something vanishes unexpectedly, your brain starts treating every purchase like a last chance. Ask anyone who's fallen in love with their mango mochi only to find an empty freezer and zero explanation. It's not bad logistics. It's behavioral economics. And we haven't even touched on the dopamine traps. Cookie butter is absolutely not an accident. Everything but the bagel seasoning, that's a case study in branding alchemy. Those tiny cones next to the register, pure psychological warfare. According to the Wall Street Journal, up to 1/3 of Trader Joe's revenue comes from impulse buys. You're not shopping, you're being gamed. Just don't kid yourself that Trader Joe's is laid back. It's really calculated. It flatters your taste, charms your senses, and lets you think you're making smart, healthy choices. But behind the smiles is a well-oiled marketing machine that knows exactly how to keep you coming back. Now, how does this system treat their workers? In 2022, a store in Massachusetts made history by becoming the first Trader Joe's to unionize. Not because they wanted cooler T-shirts, because of what they described as declining safety standards, unstable scheduling, and wages that hadn't kept up with inflation. Within months, 3 more stores followed, and suddenly, Trader Joe's family-friendly facade started to crumble. Instead of leaning into dialogue, Trader Joe's went on the defensive. According to filings with the National Labor Relations Board, they've been hit with multiple complaints over union-busting behavior. Everything from surveillance and intimidation to mandatory anti-union meetings. One crew member from Brooklyn said they were treated like traitors, like they were betraying the brand. Trader Joe's United, the independent union formed by employees, didn't mince words either. In a 2023 statement, they said, "The company's corporate structure has grown increasingly aggressive and disconnected from the reality of working in the stores." And about those wages? Sure, the starting rate in some areas might sound good, $17 to $20 per hour. But dig a little deeper, and the story shifts. Internal documents have revealed steep cuts to retirement contributions, a drop in full-time roles, and a noticeable slowdown in wage growth. It's the same amount of work, but with less long-term security and fewer people to help carry the load. Training, too, often doesn't live up to the image. Despite the air of ultra-knowledgeable crew members, many report receiving minimal onboarding, just a quick walkthrough. Still, with all that in mind, I figured I had to see it for myself. Last year, a friend from Denver warned me that TJ in her city is average at best. But I was curious. Trader Joe's has a cult following, and I wanted to know what all the fuss was about. Supposedly, their black and white cookies are a big deal. I tried the red velvet version and, wow, it tasted weirdly artificial, like someone flavored a sponge with cake batter. And the food dye? Let's just say it left a mark. Literally. The result was so alarmingly colorful, I had to Google if it was normal. To be fair, not everything was a flop. Their vanilla cake with chocolate mousse frosting? Surprisingly solid, moist, well-balanced, and decent enough to make you hesitate before writing the whole place off. Not life-changing, but in the land of pre-packaged desserts, it holds its own. Trader Joe's has a reputation for being the affordable, feel-good alternative to big-box chaos. But like most things, that budget-friendly image is a beautifully staged illusion. In a 2024 price comparison by The Kitchen, Trader Joe's came in significantly higher than Aldi and Walmart on many staple items. A dozen large eggs at Trader Joe's cost $4.79, while Walmart charged $2.48, and Aldi had them for just $2.09. Organic whole milk? $6.29 at Trader Joe's versus $5.19 at Aldi. Even their famed hummus, $2.99 for 8 ounces, ends up costing more per ounce than Sabra Classic hummus at Walmart, which sells for $5.38 for 17 ounces. That's about 31 cents per ounce at Walmart versus 37 cents per ounce at Trader Joe's. That cult favorite, everything but the bagel seasoning, Costco's Kirkland Signature version sells for less than half the price per ounce in bulk. Trader Joe's doesn't advertise sales or coupons because they don't need to. The store cultivates a set-it-and-forget-it trust with shoppers. No digital flyers, no shouting promotions, just consistent prices that quietly rise. And the packaging? Let's just say the only thing family size about their frozen lasagna is the argument it'll start when 2 people try to split it. That $5.99 bag of nuts you thought was a deal? Surprise! It's 12 ounces, not a pound. Math is optional in the Trader Joe's universe, as long as the label has a drawing of a squirrel in sunglasses. To be clear, Trader Joe's isn't a scam. It's just not the dirt-cheap wonderland everyone thinks it is. Some items are legit deals. $2.99 wine, artisan cheeses, and oddly specific condiments your foodie friend won't shut up about. And you're not paying for fluff. No flashy ads, no bloated mega stores, no shopping carts that double as smart speakers. But let's be real. Trader Joe's isn't always the cheapest game in town. It's just the best at making you feel like it is. So, next time you're eyeing that $2.99 banana-dipped bread treat at TJ's, flip the box, check the label,